Yes, said Lizzie, through her tears. And your ladyship knew all the time that the poor men were altogether innocent of taking the jewels. But they took the box, said Lizzie, through her tears. Yes, said the acute and learned gentleman. Somebody took your ladyship's iron box out of the room, and you swore that the diamonds had been taken. Was it not the fact that legal proceedings were being taken against you for recovery of the diamonds by persons who claimed the property? Yes, said Lizzie. And these persons withdrew their proceedings as soon as they heard that the diamonds had been stolen. Soft as he was in his manner, he nearly reduced Lizzie Eustace to fainting. It seemed to her that the questions would never end. It was in vain that the magistrate pointed out to the learned gentleman that Lady Eustace had confessed her own false swearing both at Carlisle and in London a dozen times. He continued his questions over and over again, harping chiefly on the affair at Carlisle, and saying very little as to the second robbery in Hertford Street. His idea was to make it appear that Lizzie had arranged the robbery with the view of defrauding Mr. Camperdown, and that Lord George Carruthers was her accomplice. He even asked her, almost in a whisper, and with the sweetest smile, whether she was not engaged to marry Lord George. When Lizzie denied this, he still suggested that some such alliance might be in contemplation. Upon this, Frank Greystock called upon the magistrate to defend Lady Eustace from such unnecessary vulgarity, and there was a scene in the court. Lizzie did not like the scene, but it helped to protect her from the contemplation of the public, who of course were much gratified by high words between two barristers. Lady Eustace was forced to remain in the private room during the examination of Patience Crabstick and Mr. Cann, and she did not hear it. Patience was a most obdurate and difficult witness, extremely averse to say evil things of herself, and on that account unworthy of the good things which she had received. But Billy Cann was charming, graceful, communicative, and absolutely accurate. There was no shaking him. The learned and acute gentleman who tried to tear him in pieces could do nothing with him. He was asked whether he had not been a professional thief for 10 years. 10 or 12, he said. Did he expect that any juryman would believe him on his oath? Not unless I'm fully corroborated. Can you look that man in the face? That man who is at any rate so much honester than yourself? Asked the learned gentleman with pathos. Billy said he thought he could, and the way in which he smiled upon Smiler caused a roar through the whole court. The two men were, as a matter of course, committed for trial at the Central Criminal Court, and Lizzie Eustace was bound by certain penalties to come forward when called upon and give her evidence again. "I'm glad that's all over," said Frank, as he left her at Mrs. Carbuncle's hall door. "Oh, Frank, dearest Frank, where should I be if it were not for you?" End of chapter 74.